Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Austrian Chess Championship. Today was round number 1, and I will take you through my game. It was a very difficult first round. I played against the very routine Grandmaster Stefan Kindermann, who I've never played before, at least not a classical. And he's the oldest participant in the tournament. He's 66 years old, and I think he played a very good game against me, and it was quite difficult. Now, about the tournament specifically, it is a 9-round event. It is a closed tournament. I'm on the first seat, shared together with Dominic Horvath. Funnily enough, we have the same rating now, 2560. And yeah, the tournament in general is pretty strong. There are many young players. I think I'm the third oldest participant in the whole event. Anyway, I will take you through the game against Stefan Kindermann from round number 1. So I played 1d4. By the way, this has been my first classical event since the Navarra match, so it's been almost 2 months. And Stefan played the Dutch against me, which didn't really come that much of a surprise, since it is basically his main repertoire. I think that he wrote a book about it like 1 or 2 decades ago. But still, to some extent, it was a surprise because it was the first round. Everyone, had the pairings to prepare for a couple of days, and I thought that he would play a little bit more solid. But still, he just stuck to his main repertoire, and actually, it worked out really well for him because I tried to surprise him, but then he surprised me. So I played the line with 2 knights e3, aiming for e2, e4. Knight f6 is what he played. And now I went for the move bishop g5. e4 is also possible. This is some gambit, but this was my preparation, d5. And now not bishop takes f6, but e3. Bishop takes f6, e takes f6 is another line which is playable, but also for black. And I thought that this was like a solid option for white to play. The funny thing is I actually had this from the black side against none other than Vincent Keimer in 2019. I think it was the only or one of 2 games where I played the Dutch, and I actually had a great position against Vincent, but eventually I lost that game. So the idea of this system is that now black had to play the move d5, and now the knight on c3 is not so great, but I want to play bishop d3, knight e2, and then the move c4. And usually black goes for the move bishop e7 here, and then I basically get my idea. Next comes knight e2 and then c4, and if black plays c5 now, then I can take, and then go knight a4 and then c4 in the next move. So this is the idea here, but he played move knight bd7 almost immediately. And this was just a big preparation mistake on my part, because now I checked, and actually many strong players played this move. Firouzja is one of them. And my opponent told me after the game that this was also recommended by Arthur Snijksons in his Dutch course. The problem here was I spent a lot of time, way too much time. I usually say this rule, maximum 10 minutes per move, and here I was just, it's hard to describe, I was just, I just couldn't really move. I was a bit annoyed that I thought I've seen this move, but then maybe I forgot my preparation, and then I saw that it's all of a sudden, it's not so simple for me to get this plan. Because after bishop d3, which I played, c5, now if I take, he takes with the knight, and now I never get this knight e2, c4 plan because of the way he played next, which was very strong. Instead, I was mostly considering the move g4, but then I didn't really, I just thought it would not be in my style to play like this, and of course it also bears a lot of risks, and I thought with bishop d3 it's still going to be, like a solid game. Probably g4 is a good try though. I didn't check with the engine, and I won't, but I saw that there were 2 correspondence games played with g4, which means that it's probably not losing, and it shouldn't be bad. I was considering if he takes, then knight e5, and then I think in correspondence they played bishop b4, which I also considered in the game, but also bishop e7 didn't look entirely clear to me. Knight takes f6, and now can either take on g4 or castle kingside. And if he can manage to break with e5, which maybe he can't, but I was thinking if he can, then I could be in big trouble because my king is also stuck on e1. So while this is interesting, I didn't want to play it after all. Stefan then told me that bishop e2 is another option, which makes a lot of sense because now if c5, then I can castle. And c4 doesn't attack my bishop on d3. And he showed me here that after bishop b4 here, there's this move knight b1. And now black probably does have to take, but then I have a pleasant choice. Probably I'm going to take ab, but I could even consider c takes b3. And that should be slightly better for white. So probably bishop e2 would be the best option for me. I went for this, c5, and now to take is probably, I don't know. It gives black exactly what he wants, but at the same time I don't see what else I can do, because otherwise he's going to play c4 with tempo. So I took and went short castle, and still here I thought I'm going to get knight e2 and then c4 on the next move. But I think he played a very strong move, a6. Just for example, if he goes for the very logical bishop e7, knight e2, short castle, now I think I'm a bit better with c4. Still thought it's fairly solid for him. But even if he exchanges everything here, this pawn on e6 is now a pretty big weakness, and this looked pretty nice for white to me. Even if he takes on d3, also here this position with the e6 weakness at least looks a bit more pleasant for white. But he played a6, and now after knight e2 he has the move b5. And even though he is completely underdeveloped, I didn't see any way to make use of that. And I played knight f4 going forward, trying to attack the e6 weakness, but now he played another very good move, bishop d6. I just didn't see this move at all, because I thought I will have knight h5, but he just ignored it by castling kingside. I was mostly considering bishop e7, but now I thought I have knight e5 with the idea of knight c6, and if he wants to stop it with queen c7, then I thought I can take and can go queen h5 check. And if g6, I thought I can take here. And if he takes, then I should be winning here, because if king e7, there's queen f7, and then I take on d6. So I did see this variation, which means probably after bishop e7, knight e5, I might be a little bit better, because it's perhaps not so easy for him to stop knight c6. Even if knight c6 comes, I don't know if it's going to be the end of the world for him, like a position like this, for example. Still, I don't have any counterplay on the queen side, so maybe even a position like this is not as great as it may look for white. But yeah, bishop d6 I think was a really excellent move by him. And the point is, after knight h5, he just castles kingside. And now if I take, his king may look weak, but he gets a very strong hold in the center and basically leaves me without any counterplay. So I took with a knight. Taking with a bishop might also be possible. My knight on h5 looks fairly active, but also here it's not really doing anything. King h8, rook g8 will come, maybe queen e8 at some point. So I wanted to preserve the bishop instead, but I'm not sure about this move bishop h6 here. I think bishop h4 would be a safer move, just to get the bishop to g3, when I thought I'm worse, but here at least my bishop is kind of in the game, because after bishop h6 the bishop is almost stuck here. And I don't have any checkmate tricks because the g4 square is covered, so I don't have any knight discoveries because queen g4 is not possible. So knight h4, queen c7, attacking h2, queen h5. Maybe I should try to play king h1 instead. Might be a bit better to keep queens on the board. f4 is a move I considered, but it also weakens the e4 square. So now he can do something like king h8, rook g8. Get the bishop to b7, and at some point knight e4 will also come. And the biggest problem now is the bishop on h6. This is just completely locked out of the game, and if a knight ever appears on f7, okay, this is a long journey, but I might just never get the bishop out from h6 anymore. So I played queen h5, queen f7, and went to this endgame, which I realized it has to be very unpleasant for me, but I didn't see anything better. Rook d8 and now g4, also not a really proud move, but what else can I do? Since I don't have any breaks on the queen side, whenever b4 comes, he can play knight a4. I didn't see what to do, and I can maybe sit and wait with a move like c3, but this is just not going to be any fun whatsoever. He can play bishop d7, he can play bishop b7, and then knight a4, a5, and I don't see any real counterplay for me. So at least I tried to open the files, but that also weakened my own position. The problem was also here this bishop on h6 now. I really regretted putting it there, because now if I want to exchange it, I don't think even, well, maybe I can do it. But now I would need to go back to h6, which is also not pretty, because if I go here, then he can trap the bishop with the move f4. So I played g4, he took king f7, I think another good move, bishop f3. And yeah, I mean, at this stage of the game, I was really feeling like I'm just playing and staying so badly in this position. But at the same time, I thought, you know, it's still equal material. It is an endgame, so I shouldn't give up. And I think I sort of played the best possible defense, at least here with bishop f4. Because if he takes, which, by the way, he didn't, I think he played another really good move with bishop e5. If he takes, then I have some levers with f5. I could get the knight to e3. And if knight e4, I thought I can play rook d1. And I thought it's not so simple here for him. But bishop e5, I think, was another good move, because now I took, if I go c3, then he could now take, and then he might have ideas with knight d3, or even knight d3 immediately. So take, and now b3, stopping knight a4. If I do something like rook d1, for example, he can play knight a4, and then the knight could even come to c3, and I'm just strategically busted in this position. With b3, at least I have some hopes to play the move c4. Played rook a c8, played rook g1, knight d7 back, rook c1, and b4. I was not so sure about this move, because then he gave me this idea to break with a3 later on. I think I mentioned to him after the game in our analysis that he could maybe start with the move e4 immediately. And if I give a check, then he can just go to f6 or e7. I don't think it really matters. And if bishop e2, then I thought he can just move the knight to e5 immediately, without necessarily needing the move b4. Also, the way he played, I think he keeps a big advantage. I took on g8, king takes g8, and now knight g2, desperately trying to get the knight to protect the c2 pawn. Played king f7, knight e1, e4. I give a check first. I could maybe also go back, but I played this with the idea that I can play a3 immediately. And here is where I offered a draw, which gladly, very gladly, he accepted, because otherwise I'm still in huge, I think I'm still in big trouble here. We analyzed this position a little bit afterwards. I do now get sort of some counterplay, but now finally he can start pushing the pawns here. At least he can try. a5 should not be critical. I thought now I can go rook a1 and I can take and go rook a7 at some point. Maybe I have some counter chances. I thought he should take rook a1. And now we analyze the following line. Knight f6, bishop e2 or bishop d1, and then e5. And now the point is, if this comes, then d4 is going to be played, and d3 is a big threat. And even if this is something which we looked at, king g1 now, because otherwise d3 I think is just going to kill me. Bishop takes a6, there should be rook a8 here. So king g1, and now I think we looked at knight d5. And here I thought that maybe this is kind of my own chance here, my only chance to take on a6. And if rook a8, now I have bishop takes b7, rook takes a3, bishop takes d5. And this was some line which we looked at, and here I could at least take on e4. If king f1, d3 looks lost because d2 is coming next. But I thought I can take here, check, here, take, and probably I can draw this, because I can also take h7. That should be drawable. But there should also be some other critical lines. Where exactly was that? The thing is, he could also start with d4 maybe, but now it's not even clear. Maybe I can even take on d4. And if e3 check, I could maybe play f3 or king g1. This is not so clear. I don't think he should rush with that. I was also thinking if he has to start with knight f6. Another idea is to play e5 immediately, rook takes a3, and now e5. But still, it might be sort of similar. I guess he needs to get his knight around to d5. That's also what my opponent mentioned. So this, maybe he can just play a move like rook c3 here, but then I can take on a6. d3 here is not so clear, I think. Then I can take, and if rook here, I have king f1. And at least for now, I don't see white's losing. I'm a pawn up. I'm ready to get out with king e2. So, you know, while the position still should be quite risky for me, I thought I have some sort of counter chances, and this is why I also thought it's a good timing for me to offer a draw, since I'm the higher rated player. I thought there was a good chance that he might accept, and still the position looks very risky, but I didn't see like a clear win for him or anything, and I guess that's also eventually why he accepted. So as you can see, it was a very difficult game. I think he played really well, and just looking forward to play a better game tomorrow, specifically with better time management. And yeah, that's about it for today. I'm realizing that the recap has been a little bit shorter than usual. I'm generally trying to keep this up for this event. Maybe I'm not going super deep, especially in the opening stage. But since it is a very long and exhausting tournament, I should save some energy, and I hope that you guys understand. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you have any questions about the games, any feedback, let me know. And I will see you guys tomorrow, where I play once again against Lukas Dotzer for now the 4th time. And I'm looking forward to the game, and I will see you guys tomorrow.